if you consider that in 2009, GDP actually contracted, we've gone a long way. And in my view, and I think there is consensus on this, one of the main reasons why we managed to withstand the impact of the crisis was because we're essentially a diversified economy. To simplify Malta and say it's a services economy or it's a financial services economy, that is really missing the point. Over the years, we have managed to, over many years actually, we've managed to diversify the economy of this country in a smart way. So we have services balanced by production. We have different sorts of services. We have different sorts of production. And that is reflected in the structure, in the global structure of our exports. Now that we're diversifying that even further, I think there is the explanation of why we're managing to grow this fast in an environment that, quite frankly, does not seem, in an international environment, that quite frankly does not seem to be conducive to fast economic growth. And yet we manage. What has very often been seen as a defect, traditionally, that our banking sector is conservative and over-prudent, has over the years been a plus point, with the wisdom of hindsight, of course. We have essentially two sorts of bank in this country. I think it's important to distinguish between the two. We have a few big domestic banks. We're not talking about their ownership now, but their area of operation. And they're basically traditional banks oriented towards the local economy. Then we have a larger number of much smaller banks which essentially operate internationally. The two sorts of banks are absolutely distinct and separate. The second batch do not operate on the local market, not predominantly anyway. That means that whatever happens in terms of international turbulence does not immediately impact on the local economy. Another element that suggests why we've not done badly at all, in fact, we're doing very well at the moment, has to do with the fact that we obviously were always very eager to make sure that we get the macro fundamentals right. So the fact that we run surpluses, the fact that our balance of payments is doing well, I think is an extremely important indicator of how things work in this country. The domestic banks, so we're talking about 2, 3, 4, go for extremely conservative policies. They're essentially retail bankers. And although they're having pressures because of low interest rates, they've managed to do pretty well. Will they continue to manage to do pretty well? Another protective element is the fact that we're extremely flexible at all levels. The labor input, the labor force, can be extremely flexible and mature. The very fact that wages and other conditions are negotiated at the level of the firm between trade unions generally, between trade unions who've been around for 60, 70 years and who are extremely accustomed to understanding the importance of economic survival and success in this country, which essentially means exports, means that everybody is extremely realistic about what is doable and what is not doable. If agreements had to be reached on a national level, as happens in a number of European countries, including some southern European ones, that flexibility would come amiss.